Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker. On 16 August of last year, I received a call providing notice of what would be in the news the next day, the 17th of August, specifically that there would be a takeover bid, a hostile takeover bid of the Potash Corporation of Saskatchewan by BHP Billiton, the Anglo-Australian mining giant. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, that changed a lot of things for the government, but most importantly, it was a very important day in the life of a province and in the lives of many of those who work in our potash industry and for people right across Saskatchewan. Mr. Deputy Speaker, our government benefited from the advice of many, from those who work directly in the industry. I was grateful for the counsel that I received from former premiers of this province, from former Premier Devine, and had a chance to chat with former Premier Calvert, a couple of occasions to touch base with former Premier Romano and Premier Lougheed of the province of Alberta. We got good advice from a number of them, and there was a common denominator in much of the advice, especially as I recall from Premier Romano, and that was that we would want in this province to have a task force of the senior officials from various ministries who would know this deal and its potential inside and out, and from every single perspective, and be able then to advise the government accordingly. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, we took that advice and immediately established, under the leadership of the Deputy Minister to the Premier, Doug Moen, we established a task force of senior officials within government who did a lot of work, exhaustive work to do just that, to know this deal and all of its implications, to engage the right outside parties, to advise the Assembly, the Government of Saskatchewan appropriately, and they worked very, very hard on this particular initiative. And we just thought it appropriate at some point, and here during the session, to be able to acknowledge those professional public servants who lent their voice and their skill to the effort of the government. I want to say, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that there are those who are not represented here, who are not formally part of the task force, but were rather contracted by them, including the Conference Board of Canada and also Gowling's firm in Toronto. But Mr. Deputy Speaker, through you and to you, I'd like to introduce to all members of this Assembly these women and men who were very much essential to the government's position on the BHP takeover and its communication of that position as well. Doug Moen, the Deputy Minister of Executive Council. Kent Campbell, the Deputy Minister of Energy and Resources, and maybe they'll give us a wave if they don't mind as we introduce all of them. Chris Decker from Enterprise Saskatchewan, Laurie Pusher, Chief of Staff to the Minister of Energy, Wes Jickling from Intergovernmental Affairs, Hal Sanders, Energy and Resources, Corey Hughes, Energy and Resources, I think I saw Kirk McGregor, there he is, from Finance, Rick Hishabet from Justice, Tony Kuczynski from Justice, as well as Heather Sinclair. I think I saw Heather. There's Heather from Justice. Rod Fink from Energy and Resources. Brian Southam from Energy and Resources. Kirk Bresch from Energy and Resources, as well as Dylan Jones, who is the Associate Deputy in charge of Intergovernmental Affairs for the Government of Saskatchewan. There's a few on the task force who couldn't be here today. Well, one of them could be, but is doing other things. Reg Downs from Executive Council. Also Graham Mitchell from Justice, and Wolfgang Langenbacher, who was at the time in Executive Council. I also want to thank all members of this Assembly, some of them who in a formal way and others in an informal way provided advice to the Government of Saskatchewan and indicated then their support for the position of the Government of Saskatchewan when we came to that conclusion, and that was manifest in a resolution from this Assembly, which was an important part of the development as well. And we want to acknowledge the work of two ministers assigned to lead the file for the government, and that was the Minister of Energy and Resources, the member for Kindersley, and the member for Meadow Lake, and the Deputy House Leader, the Minister of Enterprise, as well on that file. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this province was so very well served by these professionals who have joined us today, and it is a small but important, I think, measure to thank them formally in this Assembly, and I do so make that request of all members now, that we welcome them here to their Assembly, and we thank them for their service on one of the most important issues that the province has faced in recent years. Yeah.